Hello, and thank you for joining us today on the Rising Generation Leadership Podcast with me, Errol Lawson. If this is your first time here, we want to welcome you. If you're an organizational leader or manager in church-based ministry, in business, in academia, then you're definitely in the right place. In addition to hosting the Rising Generation Leadership Podcast, I also offer one-to-one and group coaching for leaders and leadership teams that want to improve their effectiveness and become more productive and increase their performance. Inspirational, entertaining, and engaging keynote talks that will help shift the mindset of your leaders and bring about the organizational culture that you really desire. For more information or to book a free, no obligation consultation to see whether we're the right fit for each other, simply drop me an email today at errol@errollawson.com, and I'd love to have a chat with you. Thank you for listening. Enjoy today's show. Hello and welcome to the Rising Generation Leadership Podcast with me, Errol Lawson, and it's episode number 100. Oh, we're so excited today, guys. We're still in 2016, and the goal was to hit 100 episodes before the end of the year. This is our 100th episode, guys, and we're so chuffed. And we're thinking, like, how are we going to drop this today? What should we do? What kind of value should we add to our listeners today? Well, I'm going to give you first of all a rundown on what the top 10 episodes were of 2016. That's the first thing. So you can go back and check those out. The most downloaded episodes of this year. And then I'm going to share with you just a bit of a blueprint that we use when it comes to sort of reflecting on the previous year and planning the year ahead, all right? So what do you do? How do you go about planning? How do you go about getting that clarity? What exercise, what ritual or routine do you go through? I'm going to share a bit of our ritual and our routine. Hopefully it will inspire you to set up and create, design an amazing 2017 for yourself and for your family, all right? So, cool. Well, let's go into this. I want to just do a quick celebration. My book is done. One of my goals this year was to get my book finished. If you didn't know, this podcast, how it all began was that I had a desire to write a leadership book, a Christian leadership book. And so I set out doing interviews as research, interviewing Christian leaders from around the world, from the fields of business, church-based leadership, academia, finding out their leadership journeys with the view to just getting that research and insight to be able to put a great book together. And well, after about 106 or 7 episodes now, we've done more than we've actually released. Some of them, the quality of the sound wasn't great and what have you, but we've done loads of interviews. And now we put it into a book. The book is called The 5 Core Abilities of Highly Effective Christian Leaders and Entrepreneurs. Oh man, the journey we've been on with the title, never mind. And the title was originally, it was the Rising Generation, then it was a Rising Leader. And then all the feedback we were getting, we were taking on board the feedback and we were reiterating it and changing it here and there. And we ended up deciding to really niche down into our core audience, which is Christian leaders and entrepreneurs. And we found that there were 5 core abilities, 5 things that they do really well in order to become successful. So that's the book, The 5 Core Abilities of Highly Effective Christian Leaders and Entrepreneurs. So it'll be out in January, guys. Look out for the campaign. Thank you to everybody that has supported our crowdfunding campaign, those that have helped us get the book done, get it released. Your copies are going to be on your way to you very, very soon. We really thank God for your support over these last 12 months and just listening in and supporting the podcast. The podcast is going to get better next year. It's going from strength to strength. We're thinking of ways to kind of just to improve it, get different guests on different topics and themes. And we're going to bless the body of Christ, build the church, build the kingdom of God, build leaders, not just here in the UK, but around the world. A big shout out to our listeners around the world. In Kenya, we've got loads of you in Kenya. God bless you. In the States, in America, God bless you. Love to hear from you guys. Hey, drop me an email. Let me know what you think of the podcast. Errol at errollawson.com. Love to hear your feedback and, get some of you on the show even and then getting your perspectives. Love to hear from you guys and what you're up to out there in different parts of the world. Really appreciate you for listening in. So, let me give you our top 10 episodes of this year so far. I'm going to start in reverse order. And number 10 is actually my episode, which was the top 10 tips for making 2016, if I get my words out, a success. Great episode. Just give you some tips for the year. That was number 10. Number 9. Number 9 was with John Andrews. Big up John Andrews. John is the leader at Mattersey Bible School over in Mattersey in the UK. And John talked to us about leading based on who you are and not what you do. Episode number 26 with John Andrews. In at number 8 this year was, drumroll, Albert Tate. Albert Tate leads Monrovia Church in the States. Amazing leader, building a dynamic, multicultural church out there in the States. And we talked about just that, how you build a multicultural church, not just building, but leading and developing and growing and moving forward in a multicultural church context. Really, really great episode with Albert Tate. In at number 7 was Tony Morgan. Tony Morgan and leads the Unstuck group. And Tony Morgan's ministry, calling, organization is all about helping churches and church leaders to get unstuck. And Tony shared some great church growth strategies with us. That was a really great episode. That was number 7. In at number 6 was our very own from Birmingham here, Bishop David Carr. David Carr spoke to us about how to enlarge your capacity. David Carr leads the Renewal Church. That was episode number 3, by the way. Tony Morgan was episode number 56. David Carr's episode number 3. He talks about how to enlarge your capacity. Renewal Church in Solihull in the West Midlands is one of the, it's a pioneering church. It's one of the kind of churches that are at the forefront. When everyone thinks of like successful or growing or impacting churches in the West Midlands, they think of Renewal Christian Centre. And that's where David Carr leads, has been leading there for a long time. How to build your capacity or enlarge your capacity. In at number 5 was Pastor Yvonne Brooks. Pastor Yvonne Brooks from New Jerusalem Church in the West Midlands, also in Birmingham here in the UK. Part of the Jabula Church Ministry. Jabula is led by Bishop Tudor Bismarck in Zimbabwe. He's the general overseer there. Pastor Yvonne talked about realizing and fulfilling your God-given potential. An amazing episode, so passionate, so go back and listen to it. If you want to be inspired, be uplifted, go back and listen to episode number 6 with Yvonne Brooks. And then in at number 4 was all the way from Nigeria, Pastor Akomaye Uga. And my friend Akomaye Uga leads Honey Stream Ministries in Nigeria, in Calabar in Nigeria. And his message was the power of focus, discipline, and integrity. You know, he's just got this amazing international ministry. He's traveling all around the world. He's a relatively young minister, but the impact he's having is around the world is just phenomenal. Great communicator, great leader. He's written several books on leadership and various topics. Go back and check him out. Episode number 8, that was with Akomaye Uga. Then in at number 3, we get into our top 3 now. And I've got to say a big thank you to this gentleman, Mr. Perry Marshall. Perry was my very first episode. Now, Perry was somebody I'd followed for a number of years because of his business expertise. Not knowing that he was a Christian, but God brought this man into my life. What can I say? He's a successful entrepreneur, millionaire, doing great things in his business around the world. And we spoke about bringing kingdom culture into your business, doing business God's way. So many things that you've got to have sort of, how do the two mix? How do the two come together, business and ministry? Well, Perry's doing it. and he's doing it unashamedly. He loves the word of God, he loves the gospel, and he loves doing business and helping people to grow their businesses. And he's doing really well. That was number 3, bringing kingdom culture into your business. And in at number 2 was Scott Crandall. Scott Crandall. Now, Scott's topic was "It's Not About You," and which is the title of his book also, "It's Not About You." I met Scott Crandall some years ago through a LinkedIn group we're both in, actually. And we got chatting, we had a couple of phone calls, and I just love this man's heart. And he sent me a copy of his book. And I'll be honest with you, the book literally just changed my thinking altogether. Like, I read the book and I was just blown away that this man had taken such time, and just the study that he'd done, the depth of his study and his research and his insight and his perspective. It's one of those books, it's like a bit of a hidden gem. You think, like, why is this not like one of the best-selling books of all time? It's such an amazing book. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend get in touch with Scott Crandall and read his book, It's Not About You. You will be blessed, I promise you. You get to understand what leadership is really about, what godly Christian leadership is really about. It's not about you. And then, in at number 1, drum roll. Here it is, people. Our number 1 for the year is Gary Rucci. Episode number 4 with Gary Rucci. How to make tough decisions about whether to stay where you are or to do something else. Gary Rucci, if you don't know, he's an amazing leader. He's a leader of leaders, I think Gary is. He's been a big encouragement in my life over the years. He's now based in Australia. For many years, he led the Assemblies of God churches in the London, for the London region of the Assemblies of God in the UK. And then he moved back to Australia early this year to lead a church over in Canberra with his wife and a team there, doing amazing, amazing stuff. Gary is just an amazing, inspirational leader. I really encourage you to go back. If you're thinking about making some changes this year, it's a good time to go back and listen to Gary's message. How to make tough choices about whether to stay or whether to stay where you are or to do something else. That was our top 10. Number 1 then, Gary Rucci, episode number 4. Awesome, eh? I hope you've been inspired this year, guys, and you've been encouraged by the conversations you've heard and been listening to, as I have been myself. It's actually transformed my own life, and just been able to speak to so many different leaders from around the world, and just to have the conversations with people. It's been such a blessing, So I want to share with you, my wife's actually here with me today. We're just relaxing on our New Year's Eve night. It's probably already 2017 now where you are. But we're just thinking about, I want to share with you guys some insights about how to plan the year ahead. I mean, if you're a leader by now, you've already got a process, I'm sure, but I want to show you what we do. It's been really helpful for us to really achieve our goals this year. It's really, really simple. All I'd ask you to do, guys, get a pen and paper handy, and just you can go back and listen to this, but I'll give you the 3 steps, right? The first step is this, and it's a really important one, is to go back and to look at 2016 month by month from January to December, and go back and look at all of your successes or all of your wins over this past year. Look at each month and what have you done that you've been, what have you achieved, what have you accomplished, what have been your wins, and just begin to write them down. Take 5, 10, 20 minutes even. Put on some nice music in the background. That's what I like to do, and just begin to reflect on the whole year and ask yourself, what have I achieved? What have I accomplished? What am I proud of? What have I done well? Look back over your goals that you set at the beginning of last year, maybe at the end of last year, and what have you done well? Begin to list all those successes. What have you done well? And then once you've listed those things down, I want you to take a moment and just think about, as you've listed all those successes, why was that a win for you? Like, why was that a success? Why was it, why was it a good thing for you? Why was it a blessing? So if I was to give you an example, my example might be, let's say, my podcasting, right? So my goal was to get to 100 podcast episodes. And I've done that. But why was that important? Well, it's important for me for a couple of things, because it meant that I got the quality research that I needed for my book, number 1. And I was able to also get to have some great conversations that will improve, like enlarge my capacity, my thinking, my insight, my wisdom. It's just enlarged me, and it's also built for me a great network of people, of connections, of men and women from around the world who are doing great things, who I now have ties with, who I can connect with, and just build relationships with. So that's why it's been such a great blessing to me to get that one done. So go through your goals as well. Look at why they're important to you, and what you've learned from those doing those things. All right, just make some notes on that. Reflect on each of those things. It might take some time, but it's okay if it does. A good amount of time for this exercise is like 90 minutes. I'd say if you set 90 minutes aside to do this and do it well, it's really important. I do it with my wife as well. Cool. So you've done your successes and what went well, and why they were good, successful things for you. And then the second thing is, what were your losses? What were the losses in 2016? And begin to list those things down. What were the losses? Yeah. And these are not just business wise, these can be personal, professional, spiritual, relational. In any area of your life, go back over your year and look back at the year and ask yourself, what were the losses, or what were the challenges or setbacks for you? All right. And as you go through those, once you've written those down, begin to ask yourself, what did I learn from them? Really, really important. What have I learned as a result of those losses? Really, really important. So a big one for us this year was we launched out with our church plant, but we realized that as we stepped out, we realized that the lesson learned was that we need a team. Like, we need a team. If you're going to do anything, the number one lesson this year for me was actually you got to start out and have a team in place before you go and step out into anything significant. And we learned that this year, and we learned it as clearly and as powerfully as anyone possibly could. But it was really important. That's one of our lessons that we learned. So look back over your losses this year, if you will, and let's identify what your lessons learned have been. All right? So go and do that. Write those things down. Make sure you've done that. Now, what's really important now, when you've done that, step number 3 now is to really, here's what I want you to do. I want you to literally burn that list. All right? Give thanks, pray, give God thanks for all the good things that happened this year. Then I want you to burn it. What do you mean burn it, Errol? I want you to burn it. I want you to completely just get rid of it. I want you to get rid of it. Burn it. You see, I want us to be able to go forward into 2017 having given thanks for the good things, but I don't want you to be carrying last year's expectations and last year's limitations into your 2017. What tends to happen is that we go into the new year or a new period and we begin to plan the new year based on what we didn't do or what didn't happen or last year, and actually we can limit ourselves and what we expect for the year ahead based on last year. But I don't want us to do that. I want you guys to begin to plan your year forward, actually having a clean slate, like fresh expectation, fresh perspective, fresh, no boundaries, no limitation, not thinking about what you did last year. Last year was great, and maybe you got up to a certain point last year, but I want you to believe God this coming year for even greater in every area of your life, breaking limitations, breaking possibilities, and begin to see from God's perspective. Now, the natural thing that what happens is that you think to yourself, oh, you know what, I don't want to put myself under too much pressure, or I don't want to restrict myself or hold myself back or overextend myself and all those things. Listen, our goals are flexible. They can be changed throughout the year. But what I've seen, guys, is that when we disconnect with what's already been done and we set a new level of possibility and expectation, we actually move forward to a greater level. But it's for us to let go of the past and dare to set a new standard, a new level of expectation for our lives, right? By faith, guys. So here's what you can do now, right? Once you've burnt that list of last year, I want you to answer this question for me. I want you to imagine that we're standing here, you and I are chatting at the end of 2017, and I'm asking you the question. I want you to imagine you're already there. Maybe it's the 31st of December 2017, and you're answering the question for me. What would have to have happened in that year, in that 12-month period, for 2017 to have been the best year of your life? An absolutely amazing year, 11 out of 10, off the scale year. What would have to have happened? I want you to write all those things down in past tense as well. So I have achieved, I have become, I have done, I am at, and list those things down for me in the different areas of your life. In my business, I have done, I am at, I have acquired. In my family, my marriage is, my relationships are, I found my dream spouse, or my children are, my relationships are, my finances are, my health is. I want you to list all those things and list down what you stopped doing. I have stopped doing, I am no longer this. I have moved into that. List those things down. Don't limit yourself, guys. What have you stopped doing? What are you doing more of? Describe how your life feels, what your energy levels are like now, what the joy level in your life is like now. Begin to describe it down and list it all down and take time over it. And as you begin to list all these things down for the different areas of your life, you begin to put a plan together for what your 2017 is going to be like, all right? So go back and listen to this again if you need to. Or be inspired, being uplifted, be empowered, and just have an amazing, amazing year. And guys, wherever you are in the world, drop me an email. I'd love to hear from you, hear your feedback on the show. I'd love to get you on the show even. If you've been listening over the last 12 months and you want to come and just do like a feature interview on the show, I'd love to chat with you. Wherever you are in the world, if you're a leader, a Christian leader, business owner, entrepreneur, you got some insight to share with the world, we'd love to hear from you. It's an open forum, guys, all right? So God bless you. Thank you for listening. And we'll see you again on the next episode of The Rising Generation. Bye-bye for now. Thank you again for joining us today on the Rising Generation Leadership Podcast. I pray you've been inspired, you've been lifted, you've been encouraged to take your personal leadership to the next level. We really encourage you guys to just take action, make it happen, do something, start somewhere, go out and change the world in some way, big or small. Guys, if you've enjoyed the podcast today, please share with your friends, share with your loved ones, your colleagues, someone out there you think might benefit from hearing this great content. And if you want some more questions answering, you got a question, email me, Errol at errollawson.com. Or if you want a free 30 to 45 minute coaching session with myself around a leadership challenge or issue you're working on in your business, your church, or in your organization, please feel free to email me right away. We'll get you booked in. It's Errol at errollawson.com. Thank you again for listening. Go to our iTunes page, check it out, check out the previous episodes. Give us a nice review, that would be awesome. Really appreciate if you could do that for us. We really appreciate you just for being here and listening. Thank you so much. God bless you, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Rising Generation.